for Zoomer women, we're like,
let's go. Yo, I'm absolutely going to be going live so much more. This is going to get crazy, but the greatest thing I wanted to talk about today is this. One, um you need to understand the three piece when it comes to content. We're going to talk about that. I'm going to get right into it. I was actually building on a presentation, kind of teach anybody who's trying to learn this process. You're going to see more and more content coming from my other brand that I'm building, right? As I start to teach it more and more in this process and what I do with my clients and stuff like that, and how that works. So let's do this. Let's get this over to this entire screen over here. As I'm actually building this out, I'm just going to talk about it in general, okay? So we're just going to go directly into it so that we can kind of get a base of what I'm trying to teach you guys of like how to get more leads with your brand, okay? Now, this is important. Now, the one thing I want to say during this process is that doing what you need to do to build your brand is important, and how do you get more leads in that process is quite simple. We're gonna go into that today. And first, because this is a live, the very first thing I'm going to do is share the link a few places. That's what I like to do first. It makes things a lot easier. So share your link first. You should always share your link first. Just put it everywhere that I have any sort of anything. All right, so one of the greatest things I'm going to talk about today, let's get into this. I think these have. Right, you got to promote this some places. Well, I did, dude. I've gotten 30 something leads into the process since we started. Yeah. So we're gonna talk about this. I'm actually gonna use an actual client as an example too. So hopefully we you guys get some golden eggs from this. I'm thinking about going live twice a day to kind of go over some things. I need more content, so I think straight education continuously is always needed. So since I am live, I'll be answering live questions as well. Build your brand, get more leads, right? So I'm going to do that and put it in a few places. Yeah, so one of the things I wanted to talk about today when it comes down to building your brand is we're going to try to make this absolutely simple for you, right? I think that the biggest things you want to do is to not overcomplicate your process. And because I'm able to use live videos now in multiple different ways, is like create a live, 0 people come on here, which is totally fine. And then I can take that live, and then take clips from it and throw people back into a loop to be able to watch it based off of the fact that, my strategy is I like to go live. Sometimes it's the easiest way for me to create content. So during that, let's talk about a few different things, right? While you're building your brand, I'm actually going to be doing a webinar on this, but this is just like kind of a soft walkthrough for what I'm doing. So building your brand and getting more leads, right? This is what I've been doing for my clients, and this is what we're going to talk about the easiest way to create content and a brand in 12 months. Let's talk about why this is the easiest way to do it, right? First of all, your problem is that you do not have, usually enough information in the business, or you don't know mostly about no investing. And this is coming from an actual client, right? But most of the time when you're getting started and you're creating content in the note industry, most of the people do not have an understanding of their industry. Therefore, they're afraid to start putting out content. We're going to talk about how we're going to solve that. After that, people are going to deny you of your offer, right? You're going to start putting out, they're going to deny you of offer. The environment may not actually be supporting what you're trying to do. And then, economically, you might have to change, differently into the world to get what you're looking for. So one of the biggest things I wanted to talk about when you're creating your brand, and one thing that I think is absolutely amazing, is that you have to understand the solution of getting all of your content. You know what? I'm actually going to restart this. Jeez, I already posted it a couple places. Either way, they'll watch it back in. So I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to doing another live as well. But we're going to go over this really quickly so we can break this down, right? So the solution is to documentate, not content create. You know what? Honestly, while I'm live, I might as well adjust this thing because I'm honestly realizing the style of conversation all while educating you at the same time, right? So building out the solution. Let's get rid of these things up here. These are making me mad. Okay. Okay, so this is just for the non-industry. So let's duplicate this and let's create the problem. Most of the problem for most people is that they don't have the time. They don't have the time. They don't have the time or belief the biggest excuse is that they don't have time or they don't know how. So this is most of the time you guys' biggest problem, right? It's like your biggest excuse is that you never have time to create content. You know, you can't put it out there and do so. So now that's like one of your biggest problems is that you have an excuse that you can't actually create content the way that you believe you could, right? And I'm gonna break it down to you to make it easier for you in a different manner. So since this is just for non-invest, let's move this over here. Solutions, let's duplicate the solutions as well. Okay, we're gonna duplicate those two because we're gonna adjust these. If I was gonna sit on here and talk, I'd probably get rid of this, get rid of this, get rid of this. Right, I'll probably put the windmill. Solution is to documentate, not content creation, right? So there's a reason why these all work, right? We're going to talk about this. Okay, these are the 4 things we're going to talk about. And this is collective part of these 3 things, right? This story content comes from these other 3 things being executed as well. So let's look at the purpose. So let's think if I did it this way. How to get more leads organically. So right, I'm going to say that because the reality is we're going to do this all organic or organically. Okay. So how to get more leads all organically. Now, this we're going to talk about the easiest way to create content and a brand in 12 months. Now, a lot of times people believe they have to have, I think, you know, the hottest cameras, the best looking this or top edited videos and all that kind of stuff. But a lot of it's context. A lot of it's the belief and understanding in what you do and what you're trying to help people become and what content you're creating to continuously help those people become what you're trying to help them with in your service or your brand or what you're trying to give them, right? Now, one of the biggest problems people have is that their biggest excuse is they don't have time or they don't know how. And so hopefully today you'll realize 2 things, that you have time and you'll learn how. And you'll learn how. Okay? So let's talk about this in a midst of how do you actually take this content, right? And make more content. Now, think about what I'm doing right now in this context of what we're talking about. I'm actually creating a presentation. What I need to do to sell more in a branded style, right? I'm building a strategy. I'm actually going live and talking about it all at the same time so you can kind of see it. Now, one of the biggest things is organic. in this case, so I'm going to talk about this in a marketing standpoint, which is what I'm saying, that you can get more leads organically, right? Right? How to get more leads organically, get more leads. Okay, now the first thing I say is the easy way, because most people don't want things complicated. So how can you simplify things that are complicated is actually intelligence, right? It's like, how did you used to wash your clothes? We're like, we're going to simplify it. But it took a lot of intelligence to simplify a washer machine, when you really would think going out there and just scraping it in the water was also just going to make sense for you, right? So we're going to talk about this in the present tense. So we're going to talk about that in the present tense. Okay, so I'm going to show you proof of concept, right? I'm going to show you proof of concept. I had to really adjust the business proof of concept and like what it's going to look like. So we're going to talk about that today as well. So I'm actually going to go to YouTube. I'm actually going to post this into the group, right? Because we're gonna be on here for a while. I think I'm gonna be giving some fucking darts out here. So let's look. Okay. And we're going to talk about getting more leads using content. We're going to share this real quick. So let's look on Instagram. Because we're gonna get into this for sure.
Today I start by playing Baldur's Gate.
Yo, I'm gonna be giving out some game on this live. Yo, I'm gonna be giving out some game on this live. Things I only talk about with my clients. Yo, so I'm absolutely going to be giving game on this. It's gonna be crazy. I'm excited. Now we're gonna talk about this. Actually, let's make this all capitals. So that you guys are gonna just get the absolute game as I'm building it out. It's gonna be level. Hopefully, people pop in, ask questions. Questions really do help as well, just so people can get a better understanding. We're actually going to talk about the easiest way to be able to do that in your brand and content manner. And I'm going to be doing it all at the same time, which is really the most powerful part of the system, which is like we're going to do this all at the same time while we're actually growing the brand and building the system out. I'm going to talk to you about being organic, about, just doing what you're doing while you're doing it. And that's kind of what I'm doing right now, right? I'm about to give out an extreme amount of game while I'm really just creating the mindset of the pitch, of the deal, of the opportunity, and who you're helping and why you're helping somebody. Sometimes it's really hard to have a really good pitch or a really good, presentation or really educate someone if you don't know who you're talking to. So today we're going to talk about people who are looking to, grow their business overall, and they're going to be doing it organically through social media. And what I needed to get this downloaded onto my phone real quick. And then so I could really pump this out and get more people cracking in on it at other places. So let's save it here. The one thing I'm going to tell you about this process as we're talking about it is honestly that it's going to change the way that you do business, period. Right. And I think that you have to be content driven in your pursuit of building your brand. The content founders are number one in the business. I promise you that. Like, why did you get started? Why did you create this? Why does this matter to you? You know what I mean? And then creating content consistently with making things happen. Honestly, just doing it all. Okay. I don't know if I just screwed that load up or not. I might have just screwed that up. So let's download. So whether I have 1,000 people on a live, whether we have 10 people on a live, you still want to be your number one promoter. Okay. So today we're going to talk about a few things. And in the space of being the number one promoter in the game, you got to promote your own business, And I tell people this because I realized that people are afraid to tell people what they're doing when they are not sure exactly who they're helping and stuff like that. I think that those things become the hardest thing when you don't know who you're helping, when you don't know what you're doing, stuff like that. So we're going to talk about just dropping this content in here right now, right? Bam. With a link. I'm about to dip it up here. Give me a second. Promoting yourself is the number one way. People are afraid to promote themselves. I think that's the biggest fear people have, is that they're afraid to promote themselves, mostly because they don't know who they're helping. Now, let's talk about this. We're actually going to get directly into it. If you're following, if you're watching, give me a thumbs up. Maybe give me a chat if you're ready to get it rumbling. As I'm finishing up this promotion, if you're ready to get it started, let's get it going. Because I'm about to give out some game in here. So you could be following, you could be not. At the end of the day, you could be dipping on me ASAP. Once you meet me, you're going to feel like you ain't. All right, so let's talk about this. Let's get into it. Now, the number one thing that I wanted to talk about today in building organic leads is let's go with this. I'm about to kill this game. I'm about to do this. We're about to build this presentation all at the same time. So the biggest thing you want to talk about in the process when you're trying to grow more leads organically is documentation over content creation. So we're going to do that documentation So like a math problem, documentation over content creation. Now, what you're seeing me do right in the same moment is I'm documenting a time as I'm content creating at the same time. And I think a lot of times people are afraid to show people how they work on things. So, as I'm talking to people and they're looking to actually grow their business organically with leads, the biggest thing they have to understand is they need to understand the difference between documentation and content creation. Now, a lot of business owners, a lot of people in sales who have the opportunity to document their process, one, they don't even have a process that they're using in the sales process, so it's hard to document it. And two, they don't have ability to create content because it takes a lot of creative juices, especially when you're trying to get things going. But I realized that it's a smooth relationship if you do it right. If your intentions is to help as many people as possible, and in that intention of helping them, you're actually going to document the process, the reality becomes a lot more simple than when you look on social media and you're like, man, I have to create this extreme amount of content. But when people are really trying to get the best out of something, they're not really worried about as much as you think they're worried about. So let's talk about, let's say getting more leads organically, getting more leads is like, you got to understand documentation over content creation. Now, what do I mean by that? Anybody who's doing it can do it. That's what I'm going to say next. Anybody who's doing it can do it. Now, what I mean by that is anybody who's out there making things happen actually can make things happen. Anybody who's doing it can do it, right? I'm going to put that up there. Anybody who's doing it can do it. Now, what I mean by that is the basics. If you're creating content, you need a documentation over content creation. Now, most people try to give themselves another job or somebody else, like we need a content creator. Now, reality is if your business needs more sales, if it needs more of these things, you got to do things that put you in front of people, which means those things that put you in front of people, you can actually use those things that you're going to put yourself out in front of as documentation for your content creation. Right? You're able to create documentation of what you're actually doing rather than just kind of content creation. And the reason why I'm saying that is because most people get caught up in the mix, right? So let's get out of the mix. Now, anybody who can do it, which means if you're actually doing what you say you're doing, you're at the places you want to be able to do, cool. You need to document your reality, right? The creator founder is like the new edge thing. Now, for me, the easiest way to create content and build a brand in 12 months that actually generate leads to you continuously, because people will see and you actually do it. Not just say you're doing it. Right. A lot of times when you say you're going to do something, you don't see somebody for 6 months. They don't even remember what you did. But if you say you're doing it in person, they see you do it on social media. They see you're making things happen. They see you're building your business. They see you're building your network. They see you're doing it. Well, then you're someone who's actually just documenting the things you're actually doing that creates content. Sometimes, yeah, you got to use content creation. But in the beginning, you can't. It's hard to think about content that you're going to create that's absolutely going to get you leads above actually showing people you do what you say you do, you know? Now, the biggest problem is people say they don't have time or they don't know how, right? And now we're going to break those two things down today and hopefully be able to give you the solution to both of those problems, right? We're trying to give you the solution to both of those problems. Your two biggest excuses, we're going to try to give a solution to in the content creation phase, right? Always kind of rewind a little bit, right? For you to market in the space of content creation, right, and getting more leads, you need a documentation. You need documents. You need to document with things that are actually happen. Documentation, things that actually happen over content creation. The second thing is if you're doing it, it's easier to do it, right? You're already doing it, so you need to be documenting what is happening. The easiest way to create that content and to build that brand is by solving a problem. Which one is the biggest problem is your excuse about not having enough time or not knowing how. So we're going to break down the how today in the most positive manner. I'm actually going to give you just a little bit of a nugget, not even like the whole thing because I didn't even build out the full presentation, but a nugget that can hopefully change the way you think about doing marketing and change your willingness to kind of just put it out there and go for it all, right? Rather than not going forward at all. Now, so the biggest thing you got to understand is the solution of documentation over content creation starts with these 4 pillars of things. These 4 pillars of things, which is like documenting your reality, right? Now, in any business, you have to reach out for sales. Now, I'm going to teach you a strategy that no one talks about. Building a podcast for the people you have to reach out to in service into helping them and getting to know them and being what I call a doctor of your brand. Be a doctor of your brand. A lot of people are too lazy. They don't want to be a doctor of their brand anymore. I realize they don't want to be a doctor, right? A doctor makes a extreme amount of money, but you still have to go meet a patient and diagnose them. Now, this is where I look at the outreach interview process, right? If you were sitting here, I don't care what business model you're in, and you had certain clients that you were looking for, there's no way you couldn't turn that outreach into an interviewish / podcast. And to get more responses from them, as you're able to get on a call, as you're able to get on a call and absolutely express what you're trying to do. Absolutely. Now, the second thing on that process is coaching and selling. This is why I call it coaching and selling. Most of the high ticket people and stuff like that I've worked with, they usually are trying to get on like a call, talk to you, and then that's it. And it's like it's done. But imagine if you were in the state of the helper, the creator, the mindset, the life changer, the builder with your clients. When you got on a call to coach and sell them, you should record it because you're going to be giving them game. You're going to be asking questions. You're going to be, You're going to be really giving back to the person that you're willing to, even if they do not purchase from you. And that giving back process, that selling and coaching process should be content that you're using. But a lot of people don't use it. It's like you could pay tens of thousands of dollars to be on 30,000 calls, right, with people and talk to them and try to help them out. And then all that's gone. What about if you recorded all of those calls, you ask questions, and then you put them out there into the world in a manner in which showing what you actually do, actually going to change people's life? Got to be the helper mentality. You got to be willing to actually help people. Looks like I have a call. Hold on, from who? Right? Looks like you got to be actually willing to help people. Okay, so that's the one thing I want to talk about, right? So you have three different pieces of content that you can create that comes back to you in tenfold as anybody who's trying to sell something. And I think a lot of people miss this because they're always trying to create the new content. They're always trying to do the next thing. And the one thing I'll tell you is that being popular isn't the same thing as being trusted and bought from. Like, please understand there's a difference between being extremely popular and having viral content and being trusted and bought from. Those are two different things. And that's what gets me excited all the times when people are like, oh, how does that work if you're not getting, why are we not getting millions of views? How come we're not growing like crazy? Well, the question is, are we getting leads? The question is, are those leads people who actually loved what we had to say, and are they moving forward in the process? Now, people ask the wrong questions when they're in business owners and they're trying to do social media content, so they lose before they ever even start. They get sold on viral content. They get sold on having millions of people view you. If millions of people view you, absolutely they're going to trust you. No. There's a lot of people I've watched on social media who I don't trust and who would never buy a product from them, but I watch them. So you, as a person who's trying to sell, get in the content creation space, understand the difference between trusted content and content that goes viral. But it's like most people don't want to sell, it's hard to sell real process. It's hard to tell you that real process can be built by you in a webcam somewhere in your office, your home, and you could be you and not have to be this extreme amount of a character that you're not actually at all, just to think you're going to be this next level person. Now, there's 4 pieces of content that can be documented, that can be implemented into your sales process. Does that make sense? So, and this is the problem, is that people don't implement content into their life. They try to create it. They try to make it a separate thing. If you have a real business, you have to do a lot of things that, makes feeling like creating content really difficult. And I'm going to break this down to you. If you guys are down, you can comment and ask questions as well. Tell me where you're at, because I'm kind of going to go over these solutions of documentation over content creation. Again, just so you have an explanation and you can give me a thumbs up. I'm trying to pump this in the algorithm, right? No one's going to be marketing this. That's what I said. I'm giving away a game here. The reason why I'm giving away the game, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how much you give away. People still have to implement this. People still have to pay to be closer to you as a person. They still have to want to be from you. You have to be diagnosing. Okay. Now, if you're in any business and you're trying to sell a dream, you're trying to sell the purpose, you're trying to sell these things to people, right? The best way is to reverse engineer that by interviewing those people and putting them on a podcast and giving them shout outs and creating a network in the very beginning. And it's a lot easier. I'm going to express to you, how do you get people on podcasts? How do you get people to come interview with you? How do you get to know your customer base? Super easy. We're going to go over that today in this presentation, because like I said, I've been here building this out, but I'm going to talk about this mostly and how to mindset shift this and how to get people to give you leads. I'm going to tell you this. They're going to give you leads after this, and you're going to not believe it. But I tell you, once I show you this, you're going to do it. The second thing is, once you coach people, most people who are selling high ticket products or doing it, I like to coach people. So in your mindset, how much do you actually give to people when they're on a call with you or talk to you? I give away all the juice. I give away all the juice when I get on calls with people, because to me, it doesn't matter. Because you have to remember it and implement it. And it's God-given for me. I've been doing it over and over again. The next thing is expert content, right? I do this because I'm an expert in this. You should or should not do this because I'm an expert in this, and this is what you should learn. That kind of content can easily go viral if you use trigger points the right way. Like if I said the reason why you can't go organic and make content is the reason why you can't create content in your business is because you're trying to create, not document. And I'm going to teach you how. Bam, I'm going to go into the video, right? These are the hot points. I'm still going to teach knowledge, just expert content. And then you have storytelling content. People need to get to know you. How can they trust you if you don't have a reason why you do things? No purpose, no desire, no goal, no real situation. And charlatans have to create the most high quality videos behind Ferraris and top things, but honestly, it does increase the views. But you don't have to start there. And I tell that to people all the time. Tell the story. Start the founder to creator mindset. Give yourself 2 years and document your process. Most people aren't going to plan on sticking to things long enough to, actually create their content. But let me talk about how you outreach and double your leads. You know what I'm about? Double your leads. No joke. Okay. We're going to talk about this. All right, so here's what I'm going to reveal to you right here. Now, perceived value can change how people help you. Perceived value can change how people can help you. Now, let's say you're in the note business, right? Let's say you're in my space, you're in the real estate space. You need real estate investors, you need people with 401k, people who have properties. You need those people. So this is what people say. Hey, I just started, in the note space. Does anyone know anybody in the real estate investment that can help me get a hold of them, right? They can help me get a hold of them. That's what people ask. They ask for direct, like, help me out, right? I have an amazing deal in the real estate industry, and I'm trying to make more money who's ever trying to make more money on their 401k. If you have anybody, hit me up. Nobody hits you up. This is how most people start business. This is how most people believe that the people on Facebook care more about you, or they love you so much. They're going to go out of the way to think and what they believe on you, then give you to the next person, because you're not easily going to up their status quite quickly. Now, strategies can up status quite quickly. Now, that's what I'm talking about this. Now, doubling your leads. Think about this. Hey, everybody, I'm starting a new podcast, and I'm looking for anybody that's in the real estate space that I can interview. They will get a chance to tell their story and how they got into the real estate investment. And also any who have an offer, right, of people to work with them, right, they'll be able to talk about it. Now, and they'll be able to receive a full interview, short clips from the podcast, and 100% of the digital things they'll be able to use for themselves. Now, I really want you to think about this. Now, if I was here, where did I put it? Okay, so if I was here trying to start a business and getting more people who are my perfect clients to work with me, why would I tell people I just got started in the industry and I want to, get a hold of people who you trust, who are in a space of financial security? Will you give them to me to talk to about a business I just got started? Right? This is how people get into business, when they're like, oh, I need to sell. But they never think about reverse engineering your people who trust in you to do best by themselves. Right? Now, I'm going to tell you why that makes sense. People are going to do what's best for them. They're going to share something they want to be a part of because they want other people to be a part of, because they're proud of it. I don't share things that I don't believe in somewhat. You know what I mean? Or that it's going to help other people, or if I'm hurt or emotional. What do you share these things, right? Things that you're emotionally attached to, things that you believe or that you believe makes you look good to share to people you know. And that's simple, not a complicated process. So let's talk about this. The reason why this makes sense is because it's not a value grab to you, but it's a value grab to whoever the people give this to. So if you posted this and you're like, oh, I want to interview investors. I have a few investors who need more content. And if you were going to invest in them, I'd repost your stuff and give them the link. Because I'm like, hey, he's interviewing. It's always good to be on an interview. It's always good to practice. Now, this is the crazy part about it. We're going to really talk about this in a marketing mindset. Okay. We're going to ingest this process into a marketing mindset. Now, you can win by association in digital's time. You can create a powerhouse content with experts or beginners in your space, your perfect client. You can create content with them, which is a situation, and you can build your network. The reason why it says investors, because this presentation was built off of a business who you need investors, right? So we could say a network of clients, you know, a network of clients. So to me, you're able to build this out and you'll be able to build out a network of clients all at the same time. That's what blows my mind. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that, guys. If you guys are there, can you comment down below? Give me a thumbs up if you're watching, if you're enjoying it, if you're not, if you hate me. Either way, give me a thumbs up. Let's go. Let's go. Either way, give me a thumbs up. That's why I keep typing in there. But let's break this down, and you guys could ask questions if you'd like. You could, anything that you'd want to be able to do, you could totally do while we're here. And I can go down if you want to give me a thumbs up, you want to tell me to restart it, you want to tell me to go from the beginning, how you're going to organically grow your brand, how are you going to get to the next level. We can talk about that. Okay. Finger licking good. So let's think about this. I'm going to think about it from how my perspective of creating it, how to get more leads organically. Okay. And for here, we're going to go. Two extra leads, buddy. Okay. And the reason why I'm going to put that now is the thing is 2 extra leads is going to be my strategy. I'm now going into this process. Now, documentation over creation, right? Documentation over creation. Anybody who's doing it can do it. I need another one. Implementation is gold. So let's look at this. I'm going to make it a little bit less just about words and let's add some things. Implementation is gold. Do you hear me? Now we're going to talk about it, right? Why is it gold? Why is it gold? Because nothing's done till you do it. Nothing's done until you do it. That's why implementation is gold. Nothing is done until you do it. I'm going to talk about how you can actually double your leads organically. I teach this all the time right now. And for months, here's the thing I want to say. For months, apparently our pages got hacked on one of my clients. And I didn't even think I was being able to get any organic leads. I actually switched over to the software and got to a completely different software because apparently they're supposed to know when you're getting hacked, but the company I was with had no clue. And the crazy part about that is, when you can't protect your own business because people aren't paying attention to theirs, it's difficult. So let's talk about this. Okay. How to get more leads organically, how to 2 extra leads. Now you want a documentation over, that's what that line is here, over content creation. Okay. Most people are trying to create content out of thin air, make something up. This is what I could do. That is a horrible way because it offsets you of your business. The best way for you to do is anybody who's doing it can do it. If you're already doing it, if you're already growing your business and you're already doing it, you need to document that process. Now, the reason why I said implementation is gold is because it doesn't matter what I say to you if you don't implement it. Most people work with me so that I could work with them through the implementation process. That's why they do it. It doesn't matter if I tell them everything. Most people need someone who thinks about it every day and they're the expert. And therefore, when they need to talk to you, you get a hold of them and you give them your expertise. That's the power of being an expert. Now, the easiest way to build a brand is to have content stating that you actually do this. If I could tell you that I meet so many brand business owners and content is for life, right? Content keeps working for you, especially on YouTube and major platforms. It keeps working for you. Now, the easiest way to get out of a business is to start a business, never document a single thing about you doing it so no one really knows you do it, and then run from it when the opportunity finally meets you in your face. Absolutely meet you in your face. Yeah, so content distribution. I like this one. We're gonna talk about content distribution. Content distribution matters, okay? I'm about to get off here because I got to do some Invest Brewingly stuff. And I hope this helps out. If you watch this video and it really helps, I appreciate it. If it doesn't, goes and goes. But content distribution is important. I'm going to take this right here. A network of clients, right? A network of clients, okay? So, yeah, I'm about to do this thing. I'm gonna grab some food. I'm starving. Marvin. All right, man. So that's my live for today. If you have any questions, you can ask. If I don't have any questions, otherwise, I'm gonna go get some food. If you have any questions, it's time to ask questions. Let's think about this. What else could I give you that's gold? All in the name of doing it. All right, I'll talk to you guys later. We're about to get it cracking out here. Hope you guys had a blessed and wonderful day.